Sarah Nichols from the Center for Spiritual Living in Sacramento, California. So I believe we are streaming right now, and I'm going to ask you all before we start to make sure you got something to write on and some paper, a pen, something like that, because that's going to be part of our process today in our ritual. So have that ready to rock and roll, and we'll get started. I'm going to turn it over now to Reverend Masando for an invocation, opening prayer.
So good to be with everybody in these somewhat anxiety-filled or emotion-filled days leading up to our election. I thought I would actually do a quick prayer from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, to open us up today. This comes from his essay, Spiritual Armament, which is followed by my prayer for my country. So this is what he has to say. The world is perhaps at the point of the greatest crisis in all human history, and there seem to be two attitudes we can assume. One is calmness, faith, and conviction. The other would be despair, and despair is unthinkable. Let each in their own way dedicate their time, their service, their hope, and their spiritual conviction to the common cause of liberty and justice for all. And let's work without tiring and pray without ceasing. We know that on the battlefront and in the rear guard, something alive with meaning is taking place. Something vibrant with hope is happening. Something latent with the possibility of the future is being conceived. So, believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression for all, I offer this, my prayer for my country. I know that divine intelligence governs the destiny of the United States of America, directing thought and activity of all who guide its affairs. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and the divine heritage of everyone in this country, that they are now operating in the affairs of every individual here. I know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people of this country, causing it to know that economic security may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom nor individual expression. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that personal freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. The all-knowing mind contains the answer to every problem which confronts this country. I know that every leader in this country is now directed by this all-knowing mind and has the knowledge of a complete solution to every problem. And I know that this spiritual democracy shall endure, guaranteeing to everyone in this country liberty, happiness, and self-expression. So as we take those words of our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, that were written so many years ago, but that are still so deeply resonant today, we just affirm and enter into the energy space that allows us to lean more into hope than despair, that allows us to allow our vision to be the thing that guides us, and that allows us to simply rest in the truth and to allow just rest in the trust of that truth, knowing that each and every one of us is being guided, and that our country is too being guided by a greater power. And so we just give ourselves to that, and we let it be, and we let it be so. And so it is.
And so it is, Reverend Masando. Thank you so much for that beautiful prayer. It's just amazing how appropriate that prayer was, written so many years ago for our times today. I'm getting ready to turn the program over to the person who was the brains behind this gathering today. Her name is Reverend Sarah Nichols. She is a minister with the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living and All Is Well Focus Ministry. She is also the chair of the Spiritually Motivated Social Engagement Committee that advises our spiritual leader, Dr. Edward Villon, on his public statements. And just so you know, every other minister who is participating in this program is also a part of that committee. Her special focus in ministry is healing both our physical bodies and the body politic. Reverend Sarah spent over 20 years as a lawyer and legislative advocate working for Medicare for All and consumer rights in Congress and in the California legislature. She lives with her husband of 30 years in an intentional community in downtown Sacramento. And I am just very, very honored to welcome Reverend Sarah Nichols.
Thank you, Reverend Cindy, and thank you so much for this amazing opportunity to be with you all on the precipice of this time of great change. We know we're in the middle of great change. We know that all feelings point the arrows in the direction of healing. And what we're about as we are gathered together today is an opportunity to actually acknowledge and notice those feelings and to follow them into healing and to see what else is possible and to take that with us into a sacred experience. And so I would like to introduce Reverend Abigail Shire of CSL Seattle, who is going to lead us through the experience of looking at our feelings to get ready to prepare for entering the polling place of the Sacred Heart, which we enter whether we have already entered the regular polling place or not.
Thank you so much, Reverend Sarah. It's a pleasure. Yes, and if you could gather a pen and paper or open up a document on your computer right now, this would be a perfect opportunity, because what we're going to do is we are going to explore our own feelings, and we're going to feel all the feelings. I'm just going to say, like, as a spiritual person, sometimes I don't want to be feeling such negative energy towards somebody else or something else. And so this is an opportunity for you to be real honest with yourself. We're not going to be sharing this, but to write it all down, to get it all out. You can't do it wrong. Be gentle with yourself. And so I'm going to be asking you some questions, and I want you to just really be fully, authentically honest with your answer. So we're going to go to the first question. So in this election, who or what are you most angry or afraid of? Is it Joe Biden? Is it Donald Trump? Is it another politician? Are you angry or afraid of Democrats or Republicans or socialists? Are you angry or afraid of the police or the Black Lives Matter movement? Or maybe you're angry or afraid of the big oil or big corporations or unions or feminists. Maybe you're angry or afraid of white supremacists. So just take those as ideas of people or organizations that you're angry at. Just let it out. Just say, I'm so angry, I'm so mad at, I'm so scared about, I'm feeling afraid of this, I'm feeling frightened of this, and just give yourself some permission to freely write what's going on in your body, in your head right now. We're just going to take a couple minutes to allow you to do that. And so our next journaling question is about, in this election, who or what are you most angry or afraid of? Maybe you're angry or afraid of friends or family or community members who don't share your opinions, or maybe they're refusing to vote. Maybe you're angry or afraid of COVID-19 or homelessness or joblessness or violence or conspiracy theories. Maybe you're angry or afraid of climate disasters or a controlled society. Perhaps you're angry or afraid of an attempted coup, white supremacy, anarchy, or fascism. Or maybe there's someone or something else that you're also angry and afraid of. So just give yourself permission to just let it all out. Get all those feelings, all those emotions, and just really express them as you're writing things down. Nobody's going to judge you. This is a judgment-free zone. Give yourself permission to freely express your feelings in this piece of paper or computer that you're typing it in on. We'll just take a few more minutes for you to write those down. And so now I want you to really get honest with yourself and ask yourself, what is one of the most troubling thoughts you've had today? Maybe you might have the thought of they're trying to kill us, or they are destroying our democracy, or they're destroying our way of life, or perhaps they're evil, or they're so incompetent. They are ruining this country. They are haters. They are taking my rights away. Or maybe there's another troubling thought that isn't on this list that is really inundating your thought pattern. And so I want you to give yourself permission to get clear on that thought and just sit with it. Just sit with it for a minute. And we're going to be playing some music as you allow that thought to just be. To just be. So just recognizing and knowing that there is an infinite presence, that this infinite presence, which I call love, is underneath everything. And while I may have covered it up with fear or anger, afraid of what's going on, or that I'm not enough, or that things are out of control, I just shift in this moment, allowing thoughts to just be thoughts. And I open to the reality of the infinite spirit of love, recognizing and knowing that we shift ourselves into a sacred and holy space now, having given ourselves permission to release, to let go of, to be perfectly honest with what's been residing within, and allowing ourselves now to shift into the space of putting it down, letting it go, and opening into the heart of love. And so I recognize and know that this time is now sacred time. We have shifted into a holy moment, that this place is a sacred place, that we stand or sit on holy ground, and that these words are holy words, and this moment is a holy moment. And so I recognize and know and honor everybody involved in this blessing, in this ritual, in this ceremony, as we surrender to a higher idea of possibility, individually and collectively. And I'm grateful to know that this is guided by the intelligence of love, by the activity of love, by the spirit of love, active in each and every single one of our hearts and our souls and our minds and our spirits. And so now I just allow that to take over from this moment on, within me, all around me, through all of us, knowing it is already done. I release this and I pass my word over to Sarah, knowing it's already done. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Abigail. So we're going to step into the Sacred Heart. And I draw my inspiration from this book, Love Without End, Jesus Speaks by Glenda Green, where this artist, this 20th century artist, says that Jesus, the master carpenter, came and sat with her for a portrait. And she wrote down what he said. And I have found it very inspirational. And I want you all to have an opportunity to have the peace that I have had from entering the Sacred Heart. And so this master carpenter told Glenda Green that there is a very literal place in every single human, a very literal sacred heart, a center that each of us has. And in that sacred heart, every human construct, political parties, candidates, even environmental destruction, every single thing that we know and believe to be real, that exists, that we see with our senses and detect with our senses, is superseded by the love and the power of the Sacred Heart. It isn't the Sacred Heart fighting. It isn't fighting evil. It isn't fighting political parties. It isn't fighting destruction of our democracy. It is that it dissolves human problems. And in the Sacred Heart, there is no problem. There is no problem. There is only love. And so he says that every single human, fortunately or unfortunately, has been given a choice. Has been given a choice to love, to be the love that they are here to be, that we are here to be, or to not be love. Those are the choices. And that we have to affirmatively choose love to be love. And that once we do, that's the only important thing. Once we choose to be the love that we are, then all human problems can be solved. All of them are dissolved. And so what we're going to do now is have that experience. So I want you to close your eyes and perhaps hold on your lap the writing instrument or tablet or whatever it is, if that's possible, where you wrote down some of the powerful feelings that you're having right now. And no one is ever going to, and I am not going to ask you ever to let go of your feelings. Your feelings are your feelings, and you can have them for as long as you need them. They are there to point you to needs. They are there to point you in the direction of healing. Every feeling that we have is meant to awaken us. It's meant to bring us to a place of choosing love. And so the opportunity here is that these feelings have brought us to this place. Probably if you didn't have them, you wouldn't even be here today. And so we bless them. We bless those feelings and we thank them. And now as you sit, I'm going to say this recasted and share this recasted version of an old prayer, a very old prayer, in the way that it was given to Glenda Green. And let this just wash over you as preparation to enter this space. You've had a lot of preparation today. This is the last bit. Love is my shepherd, I shall not want. Love makes me to lie down in green pastures. Love leads me beside the still waters. Love restores my soul. Though I may walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For my rod and my staff is love. Love prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies and fills my cup to overflowing. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of love forever. And now become aware that you have a energy field surrounding your body. Just become aware. Whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. You do. Whether you perceive it or not is irrelevant. It's there, and you have the ability to be aware of it on some level. And bring yourself to the back of your energy field so that you are facing your own back at the outside of your energy field in your mind's eye. And begin to scan your spine for a very literally an opening to the Sacred Heart. It is said that if you are a runner or a wrestler or in tremendous physical condition, your sacred heart may be lower on your spine, for your center of gravity is lower. And if you are a creative type, it may be higher on your spine. There is no judgment, but it is there somewhere. It may be hard for you to perceive it at first, but there is some part of you that is able to perceive it. And you will be able to listen to this again and try again. If you are having trouble, I want you to simply act as if you perceive it. Some people have noticed at the doorway to the Sacred Heart, and I want you to go walk, dive, fly, move towards the doorway, that you either perceive or are acting as if you perceive. Some people perceive a boulder to be rolled away, and you can easily roll it away. Some people, if you can restrain yourself from going in, that's fine. You may learn more about the Sacred Heart. Some people perceive an angel, a powerful angel standing guard outside, but the angel recognizes you. Whatever is that is outside recognizes you and knows that this doorway is only for you. And now we prepare ourselves to enter that doorway. For this time, we lay, in our mind's eye, we lay down all the judgment and the fear and the anger and the hatred and the sadness and the grief associated with this time in which we're in. Perhaps it's not even something to do with the election that is really on your heart today. It doesn't matter. Lay it down at the door. Maybe you have a loved one who's ill. Lay that down. Maybe you have financial troubles. Lay that down. Remove it from you as if it is an article of clothing. Strip yourself of everything that you are wearing, everything that you are wearing from the human world that keeps you trapped in the idea of impending doom or impossibility or there's no good choice or any polarities in which you are trapped, right and wrong. Remove those at the gate, at the door, lay them down. All of this is safe. All of this is in sacred ground outside the door and can be picked up afterwards. You are perfectly able to come back out and pick it up. You do not have to let this go for good. You are simply letting it go now in order to have an experience. You may have already voted in by mail or by dropping off a ballot or by going to a polling place in the human realm of voting. But now you are doing a different voting. You are voting for love. You are choosing to be the love that you are, and you are choosing love over all else. And so when you perceive yourself to be naked of human concerns, dive in through the entrance to the cave, to that sacred heart polling place. And you are in. You may perceive that it is cooler in there than it is outside. They tell me that that is because the temperature of spirit is cooler than the human body. In here, all is well. All is dissolved by the power of love. let's spend some time in here listening to this love frequency again. Hmm. And now begin to bring yourself out of the Sacred Heart. Say goodbye to it. Thank it for being there. Knowing that this Sacred Heart is a literal place that you have in your own self, in your own spirit, that is always available for you, and that is meant for you to visit daily. It's meant for you to spend time in it at the frequency of love, at the frequency of the power that transcends all human limitation. And for you to bring that back into your life so that you can come from the Sacred Heart, from love to life, instead of from life to love. And if you have already voted in the human realm, then continue to vote for love in this coming time. The election for love is every day. It does not end Tuesday. It does not end when the election results are certified. It does not end at an inauguration. The election for love is every day. But particularly during this time, we continue to vote for love and act from love and choose and read newspapers from love and behave from love in our lives. And when we do, the cosmic democracy votes for love with us and supports the collective consciousness of love in a world that works for everyone. And now you are free to, having stood outside the Sacred Heart naked, you are free to put on whatever clothing you choose from the place of love, whatever you have laid down that you actually wish to carry with you, particularly in the coming week and months as we continue to vote for love. And now I reintroduce Reverend Masando Hiraoka, who is going to help us have an opportunity to share.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks everybody who is joining us, whether that's through Facebook Live or here on Zoom. We'd love to get more voices into the room, knowing each one of us has a piece of wisdom to share, to experience, so that the more voices that are exposed, that we are exposed to, the more wisdom that we get to share. And so we just love to see if anybody would like to share something that they noticed in this process. And you can click on the raise hand if you're here in the Zoom room, and we will call on you. Or others can write in the chat, and on Facebook, I got my cell phone going for the Facebook Live, so I'll be able to see those in the chat. So who would like to share with us? Oh, to hit the raise hand function, you just hit the participants button at the bottom of your screen, and then you can raise your hand there. Comments, questions, insights from this process. Or Jamie Hudson Craig shared, I appreciated the reminder that every feeling is meant to awaken us. Without a doubt. Oh yeah, Gina has her hand up. Gina, you can unmute. Thanks so much.
Hey everyone, I'm Gina from Illinois, right outside of Chicago. And thank you so much for that Sacred Heart, that reminder of the opening of where the Sacred Heart is, and that book too. That was really, and that we vote for love every day. When you asked the question about what do we need to, what were we angry about or afraid of, you know, that list wasn't that long for me, but what I found interesting was, you know, the most troubling thought that I have had centers around that, me forgetting that there is love there for every person, right? Because the challenge has been being in spaces of conversation around, wow, we definitely want things to be different, but not doing anything different. And so talk with no action, and but still being able to love from that space. So that reminder of the, you know, like I can still vote for love even when folks don't want to do the actual work that's required for equity. But I, so I just really appreciated that as a valuable reminder for myself today. So thank you. And thanks for creating this space today as well.
Thanks, Gina. Betty from Washington State wrote in the chat, this choice is in every part of our life. And as we vote for love, even on a micro level, it will weigh on the scale of the side of love that impacts us all. Yeah, that's beautiful. Who else wants to share with us? Yeah, Steph, you could use your actual hand and not the virtual hand. That's great. Yeah, feel free to unmute and share.
I don't know where my virtual hand is. Well, I actually, the last 2 months have been hearing over and over this story that I'd like to share. It's not very long. And it's a ancient Native American story. And this follows very closely all of this. And the story goes like this. Grandpa, will you tell me the story about the two wolves? Oh, sure, son. I'll tell you this story about the two of his grandson. It goes like this. There was once an angry wolf, and then there was a compassionate wolf, and they fought and fought. And they battled it out for years and years. And one day it stopped for a moment. And then it started up again. And the son goes to Grandpa, Grandpa, please tell me which one's going to win? And the grandfather says, well, my dear grandson, the one you feed.
I love that story. Thank you so much, Steph. Yeah, it's nice to be invited into a space where we're becoming more conscious of the thoughts and feelings that we're feeding, regardless of the ones that are arising. It's really beauty. Thanks. Anybody else? Oh yeah, Steph, you got something else to share?
While I was meditating, what came to me really clearly this morning or this afternoon is that there really is no right or wrong way as far as getting there and doing it. We all do it in our own way as long as we do it.
That's right. That's
And
right.
it's infinite ways to get there, and let's do it.
That's right. Thank you. We probably have time for one more. Reverend Deborah Gay is in the house.
Hi there.
Hey.
I really resonated with that phrase, the election for love is every day. Here I'm sitting in the sunshine in Seattle. And what came to me was, it really doesn't matter at some level who it is that gets to be elected president. Because what I really feel myself, and I know I've heard this from others, is we really have to rebuild our democracy. So no matter what, that's the road ahead. And it's a time of renewal and recreation of what we create as our democracy. So that's my job, and that's everybody's job who's saying, this is my country, and I'm creating a democracy I want to live in. So we don't know the details of that, but for me, that's what's ahead, no matter who gets elected. And we don't know the way, and we don't know the timing, but perhaps we can set that intention.
Yeah, I love the vision. I love the vision of that. Perhaps we can share in a vision of where we're going, and then we can argue about how to get there. Maybe that's the strength of our democracy. So thank you all for your sharing, whether you chimed in on chat or whether you're here in the Zoom room. I know just sharing sacred space like this is really powerful. And so just being here, just having your presence in the room, this virtual room, makes all the difference. So thank you all for being here. I think I'm going to turn it back over to Sarah because I don't remember what comes next.
That sounds good. Thank you, Ms. Sando. Well, now we have the opportunity for, and I have the great privilege to introduce Reverend Jacqueline Edwards, who is affiliated with the East Bay Church of Religious Science, and in Oakland, California. And she is going to do her magic to bring us into a way to bless our time together and to bless this election. Thank you.
So what I want to remind us is that no matter where we came from, no matter what our heritage is, that when we look back at it, when we reflect on what is the way that we got over individually and collectively. I've been around enough people from enough different cultural backgrounds and national backgrounds to be able to confidently say that prayer has been around in all of our religious and social and cultural experiences in one way or another. And so what I'm inviting us to do is both to remember that in the West African tradition, there is a symbol, it's a bird, it's called the Sankofa. And the Sankofa bird invites us to look back at the past, to bring the wisdom from the past into the present so that we can build the future that works for all of us. And so I am inviting us to remember that tool of prayer, that one of the ways that we remind ourselves to be anchored in this place of love, to come from love, to lead from that, to vote from that, is to invoke the awareness of a power greater than ourselves that we are a part of, that we are emanations of, and that we can use for good. And so what we're going to do is what's called a chamber of prayer. And what that means is that we all pray together. Yes, at the same time. One of my favorite ministers, Reverend Andrea Earl, is popular. She's famous for saying that we're going to do this simultaneously and at the same time. And so we're going to unmute ourselves, and I'm going to give us a minute or so to take a breath and then to release it. We're going to do a little breathing together. And in that moment after the breathing, to allow Spirit to reveal to you what it is that you're praying for today. Because we've got different perspectives, just as we had different answers to those questions that we were asked earlier when Reverend Abigail asked us, what is it that terrifies you? We had different responses. We may want to pray to address that, or we may want to pray about something entirely different. We may want to ask, what is it that is mine to do? I know that that will be revealed. So whatever it is, we're going to do it. We're going to do it together. And I know I'm being redundant when I'm saying that. For those of you who have not participated in a chamber of prayer before, I promise you that there is, in the same way that there's a phrase that there's a healing in the waters, there is a healing in the resonance of people praying together. So I invite you to fully avail yourself of that energetic. And so again, if we would unmute yourselves, that's take yourselves off of mute. I see I'm still seeing some red mics there. And I hear in the back of my head, I hear Sarah saying to me, well, some people might not want to. And that's their prerogative. And it is. Sarah and I went to school together. Actually, Sarah and Abigail and I all went to school together at the same time in the same place. It was powerful. Okay, we're going to collectively take a breath. Inhale, hold, and release with a sigh.
Ah.
Let us pray. There is only
Only
one
one
hope,
life.
complete
That life
and
is God's
perfect
life.
life.
That life is
That life is
perfect.
God's life.
That
That
perfect life
It is my
is
life.
oneness,
It is the
is
life
wisdom,
of each and
is
every one
divine right
here on this line
outcome.
today. And what I know
All of
is that
manifest
in
creation
that
is a
place
part of
that
this
there
one
is
life.
only one
It's
of us,
oneness,
that there is
wisdom, and
peace,
divine
that
right
there's
action.
wholeness, that there's
And I
happiness,
claim
that there is
for
joy, and that
the world,
all of these qualities are
claim
within
the
our
entire
own
world, especially the
ability
US
to create
population,
and co-create. I bless
for
this
a vibrant
nation that we
sense,
call
very
the
real
United States of
sense
America.
of
I
oneness,
bless every single
a
person, and I send
deep
love
sense
to
of
every
wisdom,
single person.
and
I let go
holds
my fear and
divine
my
right
fears.
action.
I just let it go.
In this
I know
election,
that
in the
God
choices
is
to be
good.
made, in the
There's
taking a
no
stand for
opposite.
love,
And so
taking a
in knowing
stand
and
for
remembering and
oneness,
realizing that I
wisdom, and divine right action. And I'm so
can
grateful
let go and let
for
God.
all
I can
of
let go and let God lead,
this
guide, and
oneness,
direct me,
wisdom, and
and
divine right
know that
action coming
everyone
together at
else
this
is
critical
led
point in history
right and directed.
to
I
truly lead the
release
world,
this from
this
my
lead
heart.
ourselves and lead the world in
Let it
this next
go.
evolution
I
of
let
the
it
human
go. I
spirit,
let go
which
and I let
recognizes and
God.
fully embraces our oneness,
Let go
our
and I let
our
God
inner
be the
spiritual
good
wisdom,
touch
which is
there is in
shared
the
by all,
opposite. I
and
take my
divine right
hands off
action
of it
before
in
us.
in any way that
So
I may
grateful
need to
for this
contribute
reality
to it.
manifesting now
I
in
let
this
it
most
go too.
opportune of times.
In any
And I release
place
these words with the
that
automatic
I might
action of love
show
and of
up in a
law,
way that is unlike love, I let that go.
which by its
I
nature
release, I let go, and I
manifests and brings
truly let
into
the spirit
form
run my life.
that which is spoken into it,
There
that
is no
which is
competition
echoed in the
for
voices
God.
of
God is only love.
of the truth.
And I let myself be that love
And
that
I know
God
that it is
is.
done.
I let
It's
myself
already
rescue the
done.
world
And
from
so it is.
this love. I say thank you, Father, Mother God, for this moment, for this healing opportunity, for this healing space, for this idea, for this great big old yes that is the healing and the power and the presence on the planet. I release this word to the immutable, perfect, and impeccable law that does always and in all ways simply say yes. Ashe, amen, and so it is.
So it is.
And so it is.
And so it is.
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 Ashe.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. And I'm going to mute everybody again just in case people don't remember. And let's see. Now is an opportunity to thank our host, the Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. And the thing is,
Okay.
the Center for Spiritual Living Ocala, it is no coincidence. We're going to hear from Reverend Cindy in a minute if I can control this PowerPoint for one. And it is no coincidence that the Center for Spiritual Living Ocala and Reverend Cindy Grimes hosted this event. They are about peace. They are about reconciliation. That is their work in the world. That is who they are to be in Central Florida and in the country. And they broadcast this live, and will put this video on their Facebook page and get it out to the world in various ways, as should we all. But I want to I invite you to, every time we give to that which has spiritually fed us, we are giving to ourselves, and that gives back to the world. So that is part of peace, and part of voting for love is giving with love. So you can go to the cslocala.org/donate and to donate, or you can text to tithe at 352-320-5110. If you haven't done it before there, it'll ask you a couple questions. It's perfectly safe and easy and wonderful. And I ask you to please bless the world and continue to vote for love through Center for Spiritual Living, Ocala. Now I bring back our hostess with the mostest, Reverend Cindy Grimes, to send us forth.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It was such a beautiful ceremony, and I think just what I needed. I think when I went through my list, I'm a minister, I had a whole lot of stuff on there. And it was really good to let it go, and just to come from that space of love. I really felt like I was vibrating in that love space. And so I thank you so much. And I invite you all to just take one more moment and turn within as I do our benediction. We give thanks for the power and presence that runs in and around and through all things, and how it has shown up here today as every magnificent being participating.
Oops, Reverend Cindy, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself? That was a holdover.
Okay, yeah, I will. Hang on just 1 second. I will start again. I'll just start again. So take that moment and turn within. Take a nice deep breath. And feel your body relax into the moment. We give thanks for the power and presence that runs in, around, and through all things, and how it has shown up here today as every magnificent being participating in and watching this program. I give thanks for Reverend Sarah, who conceived this idea, for Reverend Masando, Reverend Abigail, and Reverend Jacqueline, who co-presented this program. I give thanks for the technology and for those behind the scenes that helped make it happen, and for all those who participated. May the release of burdens of anger, resentment, guilt, shame, and anything which no longer serves the highest and best now clear the way for healing, for reconciliation, for connection, and for love to emerge and to flourish in our country. May each one here be a light in his or her sphere of influence. May the will of the people in this election be unmistakable. May the results of the 2020 election bring about the highest and best, not only for all Americans, but for all the rest of the world and for generations to come. May we each have clarity to know what is ours to do, as well as the courage and strength to follow through as we each participate in creating a world that works for all. And so it is.